So I think I need to set this video up. I was gonna do a 20-minute or shorter video showing this whole process. But if you don't know how to put a toilet in and you came to my channel, either you're a subscriber and you are a subscriber because you like the way that I present this information and give you some of my experiences and some of the background knowledge to help you do this type of work, or you don't know how to put a toilet in and you need to watch the full video. It's rather long. I think it's 54 minutes. So you need to watch the full video in order to install a toilet. So I was going to set up chapters and I was going to make a 15-minute video, and there's various things I was going to do, but I just feel like if you're watching this video to install a toilet and you don't know how to install a toilet, you need to, this is a pretty much in real time video. So you need to watch the entire video and watch how I do it and listen to some of the information that I give you on background and see some of the things that I come up against as I do this. So I don't think I can do it any justice by making it a shorter video. So here you go.
We're going to take a look at the toilet that we have now. This is the toilet that we bought. So this is the toilet that we bought. It's basically, the reason I bought a Mansfield is because it's kind of a step up from the builder's grade tanks. And it's what is in the house, so that's what was put in the house. It is a high quality tank, a high quality toilet, quite a bit more expensive than the builder grade, but I wanted to make sure that I had the quality put back into the house that was originally put into it. The only reason I'm changing it out is because the old one uses so much water. It uses double the capacity of these new tanks, and it sets so low to the ground. So we will be getting, this is going to be an upgrade, much needed upgrade to the bathroom, the main bathroom of the house. So if you never put a toilet in, here's how it goes. You buy the toilet as a kit. Should come with everything you need in it, and it will come with everything to install the toilet, to take the old toilet out and replace the new one. Now, there's a few measurements you're going to need to get. I will show you that in a minute. So let's stop it from there. So first thing you have to do when changing a toilet out, installing a toilet, you want to notice whether you have a rounded toilet, it's called a round toilet, or an elongated toilet. See how this one comes out? See how it has that? I don't think those cameras getting the shot all the way back there. There you go. See how it comes out? Kind of do a point. That's called an elongated. So this is an elongated toilet. So if you want to replace it with that type of toilet, it is elongated. Now the next thing you're going to have to do, now this toilet has to be replaced because it is just burning through water. This tank is double the size that it should be. And you measure from the wall. I hope that, yeah, I think that's going to get it. You're going to measure from the wall, and you're going to measure to the center of the screws that are on the floor. So that's called flange. That's the toilet flange, and that's the screws underneath these. I'm gonna have to get a screwdriver and prise those off.
But underneath these covers are bolts, and those bolts, they go to the flange. So you're going to measure from the wall to those bolts, and I'm coming up with 11.5. Now, if you add or take away this piece of trim here, you get another 1/2 inch, so that gives you 12 inches. So that's going to make your installation, this is going to be a 12-inch toilet. Sometimes they have what's called a 10.5 inch installation, and that's going to be a different, that's the width from the wall to that toilet flange. So you have to measure that so you know which toilet to buy. This one is a 12 inch. 12 inch is the most common. That's the most common, is a 12 inch. Okay, so we're going to replace this toilet. You saw the toilet. First thing that we are going to do is we are going to turn the water off. Water valve is I replaced this water valve, so it is a new one, and there it is. I've had to replace every valve in this house, so this one has a new water valve. There it is. Turn that off. It's going to turn the water off to the tank. I've already had to take this tank off, so I know the valve holds. Next thing I'm going to do is flush the toilet, get all the water out. I'm going to keep holding that thing. I'm going to try to get all the water I can out of there, because this bowl and everything's going to have to come out. So we're going to try to get all the water we can out of here. So next, I'm going to go up top and look at what's left in the tank. Let's pull the tank lid off. I'm going to set you down for a minute while I get this tank off. I'm going to set this to the side because it's going to go outside and be destroyed. Now, this is perfectly good. Perfectly good. Actually, it was a high quality. It was a high quality tank when it was put in, but it uses too much water. Way too much water. So now I'm going to, if you look in here, in the tank, I'm going to give you a shot down inside the tank. This is what the inside of a tank looks like. This is a flapper. When you pull that, it opens up that, it opens the toilet up to all the water that's in this tank. And all of that water, all of this water rushes out. It goes into the bowl and flushes all your waste down into the sewer pipe. Now, when that flapper comes, when you let go, the flapper closes. And this thing over here is called a water valve. A lot of people call them by the trade name, Fluid Master. That's a name brand, Fluid Master. They kind of created this design. But anyway, there's several different types of these. But what happens is water comes in through this thing in the bottom, and water comes through this tube here, fills the tank up, and when it gets to the desired level, this float over here, this float comes up and shuts the valve off, turns the water off. Then it waits for you to move this flapper again. So what I'm going to do, I want to get all the water I can out of here because I don't want a bunch of water that I have to clean up. So I have to get the water out of the tank and out of the bowl. So out of the tank, I'm going to get rid of this. I'm not going to be using any of this. So I'm trying to do this with one hand, but what I'm going to do is get rid of this flapper valve right now and get it out of the way. I'm going to try to get the shot down there. So there you go. You should be able to see a little bit of what I'm doing now as I'm doing it. And so I'm gonna flip out all the water I can. Now, when I take the bottom of this fluid out of this flow valve, as I take the water valve, the bottom line off of it, it will also allow a space for the water to drain to. So I have a black pan. Now I suggest you go to the automotive store. I use these all the time for these types of projects. So I would suggest you go to the automotive store. They have these things, they're very inexpensive. You can usually buy them with a roll of paper towels or something. They're like $6, you get 2 or 3 of them. I would suggest you get a bunch of these because you can use them on the car, you can use them in the house. Normally I have ones that are only used in the house that are clean. I was kind of in a hurry, so this is one that has been used outside. But that's okay, it's clean on the bottom. I'm going to put it under where the valve is, over here, the water valve. I'm going to loosen that line that goes into the one that I turned off, coming from the wall, supply line. Sometimes it's a braided line, it's a metal braided line. I'm going to loosen that valve, I'm going to pull that line down. That line's going to stay, and the toilet's going to be removed from there. Now, you're going to get some water come out, and now what I'm going to do is there's a, actually I should be able to show you now. I can show you over here. I should be able to get a shot now. And I should be able to show you. Let's see, maybe there. Let's see what I can get. There it is. Now it's it's a weird shot. You wouldn't be able to get this shot other than the fact that I have a specialized camera that can get shots like this. It's a gimbal camera, and I can control it with my phone independently. So that's what I'm doing. It's an odd shot. You're looking at it from down below. You're looking up from below the tank. So now I'm going to take this white, not always white, but this nylon fitting off of here. That's what holds that fluid, that valve, water valve in, the tank valve. That's what's holding it in. So I'm going to quickly loosen that so that I'm making the least amount of mess as possible. Still making a mess, but I could have done better, but it looks like I'm making a mess. So now that's going to drain the tank. There we go, we're draining the tank now. That's going to drain what was left in that tank. See, I wanted to get all of it out that I could before I did that, because it makes a mess. So there's that. Now I've got the actual, now I have this is the actual water valve. Remember I told you that's what some people call Fluid Master. That's a trade name. It's an actual brand name. Now I'm going to clean up the mess. People call them channel locks. That's another brand name, but there's some offset pliers. I'm going to use those to get underneath here. I'll give you a shot underneath again. And this is the actual toilet seat that I want to save. This is this has a child's seat on it, and we're getting ready to soon I will be needing to we'll be potty training our children. And really, anytime you have children in the house, they need a smaller seat. fall in on the regular size seat. These are big seats. So what I'm doing is this one I'll show you here in a minute has a built-in child seat, and I want to use this seat. I'll show you this seat. It literally comes off separate from the things that I'm trying to get off now, and I'll show it to you. But right now I'm trying to save the threaded pieces that go onto this thing. There they are. You see this is how you take the toilet seat off. You probably know how to do that. So I'm saving the toilet seat because it is a quiet close. It doesn't slam. I hate when toilet seats slam. So it is a quiet close, and it is also a child's toilet seat. So let me show you what this looks like. Actually has a child's seat built into it. See, it has a child seat built into it, and it's a quiet close, and it won't slam. So I'm saving that, so I'm going to get it off and out of the way. We're getting it off and out of the way. Let me check my other shots. Looks like we're still getting an overall shot. That's good. Now I'm going to try to flush the tank out again. I will get some water. I'm going to try to dump water into the tank, the bowl itself, to get it to go down. You're going to have to bail that out, actually. I'm going to have to bail that one out, but I'm going to flush some water into the toilet. Okay, so I'm going to bail this one out with a actual cup. I'm going to bail this bowl out. There we go. Still recording. I'm going to get this other side off. Now you're back to looking at the other side. And look at that. See, there was a leak. I took this bowl off. I took this tank off. And this is the tank up here, the part that holds the water that you're going to flush. I took it off about 3 weeks ago when I removed the wallpaper from behind this tank. So you see, I knew that I had a problem back there. You see that staining, that rust water that's coming down there. I knew at the time that I had a problem because the actual rubber pieces that seal that, they were coming apart on me as I put it back together, and it was making this horrible black mess. So I knew that there was going to be a problem, but I also knew that I was going to be taking this tank out very soon. So here's the other side out, the piece that I needed to take out, and we are getting ready to get this thing completely out. Now I'm saving these nylon pieces, and that's what puts the actual lid back onto the toilet. So now I'm going to actually bucket out this water. I'll let you get a shot of that because there's no more shots. Well, there's another shot from looking up. I will go ahead and do that while you're here. Now, there's normally 3 or 4 screws that go through the inside of the tank and come out the bottom. Now, that's where that rusty line that you see, that's where that water's coming from. It's coming from one of those. And that is what holds the tank onto the toilet, to the bowl. That's what we're taking apart next. So, normally it's just a big standard screwdriver, and that's what this one is. It has big, thick, black rubber washers inside, and it'll have a nut on the bottom with some washers, and here it is. Okay, back to the toilet. I'm taking the nut off of the screw that has the black washer in it, and takes a while to get them out. They're long. I don't know why they make them so long. I don't think the new ones are this long. They have to be long enough to get through the toilet, but it's just ridiculous to make them. They're 4 inches below the toilet, so it makes no sense. Here we go on number 2. There's 3 of them in this toilet. And I'm going to take this flush on and off. I'm trying to. It's getting into such a mess. There's always such tight spaces in these bathrooms, and still trying to get the second of the third. Alright, now I've got it broken loose. Now I should be able to just turn the nut. I hope you're getting a picture. You're not, but I'll try to get you one. I think you got one on the first one. But there's the second one. The tank just lifts off. There it is. Set the tank out of the way. So there's the tank lifted and out of the way. I'm going to have to bucket out. Okay, only thing left is, let me give you a shot of this. Now, all we have left is just the dirty water from the tank and everything. There's no doo-doo or anything in there. But anyway, that's just dirt from this process. Nothing dirty in here. This bowl was clean. The only other thing left to do is to take the toilet loose from the flange, and that is under these cups right there. And you want to preserve those flange bolts if they're in good shape, especially because you want to just reuse the flange bolts that are there. And so you normally would take a wrench and hit those with a wrench. I'm going to see if I can get them with these offsets, and I did. It loosens them up. Well, my camera is not getting a shot of that. There they are. I'm just going to do the other side also, and I'm going to hang on to these nuts and washers because you never know what might happen. Maybe the toilet you bought for some reason didn't come packed with everything, so don't throw all that out yet. Let's get it loose. and hang on to it for a minute. This is the other side. We're going to do the same thing with these. We're going to take the washers and the nut and set them out of the way. Now, the absolute only thing left to do. Okay, so now that's all that is waiting. I have the bolts off and we are ready. Now we have the bolts off, have the cameras adjusted, and we are ready to lift this toilet out. Now I'm going to lift it up off the flanges and kind of set it in this black pan to get rid of any excess water. I will let you see me lift this out of here, and right here you can see why it has to be changed. It's a Mansfield. That's what I'm putting back. It's a little better toilet than just a builder's grade, and it is at 3.5 gallon per flush. Way too much by today's standards. The cost of water is up so much that my water bill is going to be outrageous if I leave this in here. So this thing has to come out. So here we go. I'm going to lift this off the flange, and we're going to get a mess here. I'm going to try to kind of lift it and put it into the black bowl here. There it is. And if you can see down there, you see if I can readjust that down there anymore. I will turn you around and give you a good shot of it, but that is the wax ring. That's the flange. That is the flange and the flange bolts. That is them there. And this is the wax ring. It's a pretty good wax ring. Looks like it has a couple of them there. So I'm going to have to take a... it actually has two in there, I think. So I'm going to be careful taking this apart and make sure that I have two to go back. I feel confident that I do. But it's probably because this has a couple of floors here. So you have to take a scraper and scrape the old wax ring out and put a new wax ring in. Sure as you don't, you probably could put the new toilet on and never have a problem. But sure as you don't replace that, you are going to have problems and you're going to wish you would have done it. It's only a couple of dollars, and there it is. You can do it while it's apart. So I'm going to stop all the cameras now, and I'm going to get some help getting all this cleaned up and out of here. And we're going to reset with the new toilet. So here we go. We're going to stop everything. Okay. We are recording another file. So here we go. I have the scraper in my back pocket. We're going to take a look at this as we go to make sure that it's just one wax ring. Now we're recording. See if the gimbal can keep going or if it's going to overheat on us again. But there we are. That's the shot we're getting. That's the wax ring in place, and I'm hoping that's enough of a wax ring. I'm hoping it's high enough that it is going to seal. It's just a little bit above the floor. I think it'll be okay. I think I'm going to have to move the camera because when I go to lift the bowl into place, we're going to lift this bowl and try to set it right on that flange and squash down that wax ring. So here we go.
Seems to me that our toilet comes out much further than it used to. I don't know that I like that. And I don't know if that is enough wax ring.
Didn't feel like it made a good connection. No. It didn't even touch that wax ring. So I will. The floor is too high for the flange. And somebody just fixed it by doing what I'm doing right there. Just adding that extra wax, extra beeswax. And that's what that is beeswax. Now, this is gonna go on there, but we'll get to that shortly.
Let's make sure we're still getting a shot there. We're still getting a shot there.
So now when I set this back down on here, hopefully I didn't track that beeswax through the house. So make sure I get that up. But now I'm gonna try again and make sure that flange bolts are clear. And it definitely sets differently than the other one did. To me, it looks like it comes way further out into the floor. If it does, I'm not gonna like that, but I'm not sure that it does. So here we go. Get a wrench that actually fits this. Okay, are we still recording? As far as I can tell, we're still recording. I'm gonna move the camera now. We're gonna switch to putting the tank on.
Now it looks like we have 3 bolts that go into the tank.
So the tank is gonna go on like this. Just like that. Looks like I'm gonna have to repaint. Not too bad though. It won't be bad repainting that. It won't be bad. So here's much better designed system. You can see these. They have these big black threaded pieces on the end. Just a much better system. And I suppose these are going to go down from inside up here and then we'll put the metal, and then you will thread the plastic or nylon. Yeah, I believe that's the way it goes. Let me double check on that because I haven't ever seen this type before. So I'm going to double check, but yeah, so the threads come out the bottom, so they thread through the top. The black rubber part stays inside the tank. So they go through. They show doing all this before you put the tank onto the wax rings. There's no way I would have tried to do that. Why would you put all that weight together on that? That don't make any sense. But anyway, these go in here like this. And now the white nylon goes onto those threads. A much smaller tank. I like the look of it. It actually makes the room, and the room needs to look a little bigger, and it does make it look a little bigger. I am going to have to touch up where the footprint of this bowl is different, but that's okay. It's not that much different. And I have plenty of all these horrible smells from the sewer. That's because there's no water, and the water, when it lays in the trap in the toilet, that is another way that it keeps sewer gases from being in your house. So here's a good shot inside this toilet. It's a very good design. It is a skinny, very tall tank. It's not very wide, very small footprint left to right. But I would say 3 to 4 inches taller than the old toilet, which is interesting. And it probably uses that height to create the push down because of gravity. It's going to use the height of the water column to push harder as it goes down and get a better flush. So that's probably why they're building them taller and not wider. So, all right, let's make sure this thing's tightened down good. We're getting ready to put the I'm going to go ahead and put the water line on here. Now the water line even sets differently on this. All right. All right, we'll see what kind of leaks we have, if we have any. Very well, likely we could have a few leaks. Let's take a look around. I don't see any leaks yet, but very early. Make sure that this wax ring is sealed good, so I will also be going downstairs and checking that out. And it doesn't look to me like the wax ring is sealed because it looks like we're losing water quick. I don't think we're getting a full return of water in here. And we've got a pretty bad leak here, right there. Okay. Here it is. It reached its fill line. I'm going to see if it holds the water in the bowl. Make sure that we are correct there. And we want to make sure that the tank is not leaking. The tank was leaking initially. I may have to make some adjustments to this thing because it looks like one of the... It's okay now, one of the threads was leaking really bad. But I think that's just so, because you have to adjust them. There's so much adjustment in those, and you have to really cinch them down to get that rubber to compress. I see no other leaks. Right now the bowl is holding its place. That's always annoying to see a toilet that doesn't have water in it. That's a sign of a problem with a bowl that doesn't have the correct amount of water in the bowl. There's a problem. And actually it looks like this one is going down too far. I'm gonna have to find out why the water is leaking out of this bowl, because it looks to me like it's down too low. So I'll have to look into that. Okay, it is holding. It's holding enough in the tank. It's holding enough. It's not leaking any in the tank. It's holding enough in the bowl. It's not going to cause any issue. Now it's just time to clean up. So let's put the tank cover back on. Clean this mess up. Get out the paint. Finish this up, and then we will paint it. And then we will go ahead and change the lid seat in the other bathroom. So here we go. Okay, I'm double checking for leaks now, and I am seeing some water down there. Let's see what's going on here. Double checking, but it looks like it's just water that was there. Ah, no, that's not. That looks new. Let me get down there and take a look at this. Where's that water come from? Because that's quite a bit of water there. Yeah, that's a lot of water. So those black rubber pieces down in there, they have metal threads that come through the tank, attach the tank to the actual bowl, and on the back side they have the white nylon threads that go on. Those are leaking, so I had to empty the tank out, turn everything off. Okay, so as I tighten these up down here, I was scared of over tightening these. I was scared I was going to break the porcelain, but these things have the breakaway nuts on them, so you have to tighten them down really far. So I had a long way to go on all of them. And when they get tight enough, they break away from that. So when these things, here they are as I'm tightening. I'm tightening these things. I don't like what I'm hearing. It sounds like I hear things cracking and everything, but that's just the way these things are. But these things kind of have, if you care, we're now filling it up with water. Looking for leaks again. I tightened it down a ton because I didn't have it tight because I thought that it wasn't supposed to be that tight. I thought the rubber grommets just took care of it, but they don't. And you tighten them down until the breakaway nuts actually come off. Plastic breakaway. They break away these threads. So I feel like we have it now. Now we're ready to clean this mess up and paint. There we go. So there's what I'm painting. Now luckily, not luckily, but because I did a good job and I took this tank off, I removed it correctly so that I could remove the terrible paper that was on here. because I did that correctly, I didn't have much of a mess to do here. Now it's just a small matter of touching up rather than a huge job that would have been if I would have left it unpainted or left all that old wallpaper on there. I would have had a huge mess to contend with right now. But because I did correctly, now I just have
Took it apart.
this little bit to contend with here. Just this small amount here, which is still hard to do, especially because I'm right-handed and this has to be done with a left hand. So here we go. There's our 1 gallon per flush toilet installed. The ADA approved height on the toilet, the correct amount of water usage. Ready to go. I'm just going to put the lid back on. The top. Put the top back on. Continue to clean up our mess. And that's it. Job finished. There we go. There it is. So here's the final shot. Here's the final shot of the toilet job. Sorry about my voice, it's about gone. I've been a little under the weather lately, but here's a shot of the finished job. It's a much taller toilet. It's a much taller tank. And that gives it a higher water column so that you can, when it's flushed, has a stronger flushing power down that central pipe into the sewer. So that's the purpose of that tank being so tall. Now, one thing to remember on these toilets is that remember that your quick flush is for urine. And I will actually give you a shot of that inside of that tank. So let's say you do number 1 and you get up or you flush, you do a quick flush. You see it probably uses less than half a gallon of water. And it goes back to its full position. But let's say you did something else. There are solids in the tank and paper, and you want to send that down the sewer. You press and hold a second, and that empties a little over a gallon of water and flushes it on down the sewer. That's for solids. So in case you didn't know, these toilets are kind of like 2 stages. So you want to look at that. And let's fill them back up for a full flush.
And a lot of people don't know this. You know, a lot of people don't know that there's 2 stages of flush on these toilets. It's very good to know. But if you watch this actual bowl I'm going to show you here, it's up to the full area. Now it's up to the full area. You have the full amount of water in the bowl, and you do the quick flush. Just got a powerful flush there, but it quickly returns up here because you only put out half a gallon. You only dropped a half a gallon of water down through there. A lot of good technology behind this, believe it or not, and has led to us using much less water than we used to. Now let's take a look at a full flush in the bowl. And of course I would pretty much flush anything that would be needed. Boy, I've wasted a lot of water making these videos, but only a gallon or so at a time, so not nearly as much as I would have. So there it is, and here's a look at the little child seat that I told you about at the very beginning of the video. It's a pretty cool seat for young ones, so they don't feel like that they're going to fall in. It's great for potty training, which is what we are getting ready to do. So it's pretty cool also. Well, there it is. There's the complete toilet out and replace. And I don't have any extra additional lights, and I'm not using all of the lights in the bathroom, so that's why it's a little dim, but it's the middle of the night. So anyway, there it is. That's how you take a toilet out and replace it with a much more efficient and much more comfortable available toilet. And also, I don't think I've said earlier in the video, you can replace these toilets for $99. This is a much better brand than just the builder's grade, and I think it was maybe $210 for everything. That's hard to believe, but that's all it is. $210, you get the whole kit, you get every bit of it. So there it is. You're going to save a hell of a lot more than that on your water bill.
Okay, that's going to do it for this episode.
There it is.
I hope you watched the whole video, and I hope this video helped you out. And if it did, give me a thumbs up. And if videos like this are helpful to you, be sure and subscribe. I have a lot of new content coming out. So remember, they may do it another way, but that's the way I do it. We'll see you next time.